So tonight's true scary story is about Zozo. Now, I know that Zozo is not supposed to be real, but you guys would be shocked at how many stories I get about this particular entity. So let's get into the story. But before we do, if you could hit that like button, it really does help me out a lot, but only if you guys like my content and feel like you want to. So tonight's bidder did not tell me whether I could use her real name or not, so we are going to be calling her Kayla. So it started off when Kayla and her best friend were at the mall, and her best friend decided that she wanted to get a Ouija board from Spencer's. Do you guys remember Spencer's? I remember it when I was so young. Like, I didn't even know they still had that store. Well, they didn't think anything of it. They didn't really think it was gonna work anyways. They had had a lot of experience in her best friend's house, so they just wanted to see what would happen if they used a Ouija board at her house. The time came to play, and it was her and her best friend and two of her other close friends. There was a guy in the part of this group, and his mother had dabbled in the witchcraft and paranormal, so he was immediately out. He was like, absolutely not, I'm not playing this game, I am sitting out. But then funny enough, his nervousness made her best friend back out, even though she was the one that got the Ouija board to begin with. So it was just Kayla and the two other close friends now at this point playing the game. They're sitting in her best friend's room, and they looked up how to use a Ouija board. They followed the steps precisely, and it did not work. But her best friend and the other guy who had backed out were like laughing and joking and making fun of it, and kind of just making the energy in the room a little bit excited. Google said that the room needs to be quiet and everybody needs to be focused. So her friend that was playing with her picked up the board and walked down the hall to go to a different room. They start again. Circle, circle, circle. Is there anybody in the room that wants to talk to us? Immediate yes. Chills instantly down their spine. She said she had chills writing this actually. So they look at each other and they do the normal, are you moving it? And then the other girl's like, no, are you moving it? And she's like, no. And they almost didn't believe each other at first. Kayla was convinced at first that it was her best friend, but then she noticed that the planchette was like gliding across the board, almost floating across the board with their fingers barely on it. So she started to realize that this wasn't her friend or her. So they asked what the entity's name is, and the entity wouldn't tell them. And then after them asking a couple more questions, they decide that they're going to take the board back into the best friend's room to show them that it's working. So now they're in the best friend's room, and they tell the other two people to be quiet. They say, you need to be quiet in order for us to do this. We're talking to somebody. So then they ask again, is anybody in this room, and can you speak to us again? Just stillness. They asked again if it was still there and wanted to speak, and then it slowly moves to yes. They were like, told you so, watch. So they start asking questions again, and they're like, what is your name? They get nothing. So they ask, how old are you? 22. Are you a boy or a girl? Girl. How did you die? Childbirth. Now they're invested. They offer up their condolences, and then they ask the board, where did it happen? And the planchette moves to here. This struck them as really weird because they had never heard of any deaths on the property, especially in this nature. They start asking mundane questions. What is your color hair? What color are your eyes? Did you live a happy life? They're convinced they're talking to a 22-year-old girl. A 22-year-old girl that died during childbirth. They were amazed, but this is how it gets you, she said. It suckers you in with a sob story. She's so glad that her friend knew who they were talking to, but not yet did he know. So they keep asking questions like, what is your child's name? They figured that since this entity wouldn't tell them her name, maybe it would tell them their child's name. They replied with the name of a boy that was in her best friend's family. They were shook. They were like, oh, that's so weird. Like, that's so-and-so's name. We know that name. That's the same name. What a coincidence. Thinking back on it, Kayla thinks that he was trying to let them know that he knew them and everything about their families. So they're like, that's crazy that you have the same name as our friend's family member's name. Is your name the same name as his mom's? It answers no. So then they ask again, can we please ask what your name is? And it slides to yes. Then the planchette starts moving faster. It does a figure 8. It slides over to Z. It does another figure 8. It slides over to O. At this point, her friend's looking up at her. She's white as a ghost, and she's like, do you know who Zozo is? And Kayla answers no. Her friend then says, listen, if it goes back to Z and then O, we have to put this away. So then it does another figure 8 and it goes to Z, and they're like, okay, we're done with this. They say goodbye, they fold up the board, and they put it on the dresser. Planchette is now upside down on the dresser, and they're all freaking out because they just talked to Zozo apparently. her friend briefly describes who he is, and then Kayla looks him up online and she's like, he's fake. And they're like, well, then how did we just talk to him? So Kayla's like, we just talked to him. Now we're talking about him. We're doing nothing but conjuring him up more. Then they're like, was what just happened real? And then she looks at her friend and she's like, were you fucking with me? Like, and then they just start laughing about it. Then they're walking down the hallway when all of a sudden they're halfway down the hallway when the whole house just gets filled with this loud boom, and the lights just shut off. They scream in horror. She even jumped on her best friend's back. They run back into the room and they're talking to the guy whose mother was into the witchcraft and the paranormal, and he's like, I told you guys not to mess with this stuff. He's like, this is your fault. Now her best friend is mad at her even though it was her idea initially, but they're just all horrified and scared at this point. Now you're probably thinking, a transformer blew at this point. There was no wind, no lightning, no storm, nothing. The night was clear. They were the only house on the grid to lose power, the only house on the lake to lose power. The big kicker is there's 2 houses on the property, and the only one that loses power is the one that they played the game in. She said this house has so much energy in it. So they thought to themselves, burn it. And then their guy friend is like, absolutely not. All that does is release the spirits. So they buried it. They buried it that night at like 2 a.m. deep into the ground. And then they drove another 10 to 15 feet and they buried the planchette in the ground. That night, they all slept in the other house and got wine drunk while the power in the other house was out until the next morning it came back on. Kayla says that this is one of the craziest experiences that she has ever had and one of the scariest experiences that she has ever had. And you can talk to all of them individually, separately, and they will all give you the same story and talk about how they were all horrified. They talked to the Ouija board demon Zozo, and they know that they did. She said, whether you believe us or not, we know the truth. It happened. It's real. He's real. And the power of convincing and energy is insane. So what do you guys think happened here? Okay, hear me out with this one. So if Zozo isn't real, because maybe he still isn't real, nothing against you, Kayla. I believe everything that you say happened to you, but what if this spirit, this bad spirit, whatever it was, knows about Zozo and knows how much it scares people, whether it's real or not, and so it pretended to be Zozo. And that is just as bad as it actually being Zozo, because it's a demon nonetheless. But whether there's a demon called Zozo or not, I believe that there are demons out there that you can connect through Ouija boards if you do not know how to use them properly. Buying a Ouija board from Spencer's and using it, and using Google to like kind of set it up, is probably super dangerous. But I love you, girl. I'm just telling you, that's my opinion. So maybe Zozo is real, but maybe there is a demon out there pretending to be Zozo because they know the fear around the name. Do you get what I'm saying? So regardless, I believe that you did contact a demon, and thank God you are okay today and nothing else happened to you. But it's strange to me. I wonder if there really is a demon called Zozo. Like, it really makes me wonder. I thought it was fake this entire time until I got this email, and I've gotten other emails about Zozo too. So it just really makes me wonder, and I want to know what you guys think. So please, with this one, drop your opinions in the comments and tell me what you think. And has anyone else had an experience with Zozo? And if you have, I want to hear about it. And I want you to drop it in the comments. And I also need you to send me stories. By the way, I am also planning to go live on here very soon. I was going to go live tonight. So if you guys want me to do that as well, let me know. But other than that, we're going to do the shout outs now. My first one is going to Mocha Angel 24. I am so glad that you found me on YouTube. I don't know why you struggled to find me. That worries me. It makes me wonder if other people are struggling to find me. Thank you so much for being such an awesome supporter. I love that you say have a spooky night with me. That makes my whole entire day. You are the best. I love you so much. Thank you. My second one is going to Tony Clifton. I appreciate you so much. You said that you're sensitive. If you have any stories and you're comfortable with it, send them to me. Send me your longest stories. But I hope that you're sensitive in a good way. I hope that you're happy and safe, and that you're not being like attacked in any way by negative spirits or entities, because I know that can happen, me being sensitive myself. But I love that you're such a great supporter. I love that you love my content. Thank you for the compliment. It means everything to me. Just thank you. I love you. And with that being said, my name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every other night that you guys submit to me. So if you're into that, then hit that subscribe button so you can get notified every time I tell a scary story. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. Please have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses.